Hey everybody, I got a question for you all. Do you feel the burn? I didn't hear you. Do you feel the burn? Alright, well, we're starting it all over again, folks. This was the Snowball Point, Colorado, right here in the Skylark Lounge, and it's great to see so many people that were here the last 2 years. Really appreciate it. This event's being put on by PDA, Our Revolution, and People for Bernie, as well as the Skylark Lounge, and we really appreciate you coming out. Needle Lynch here is going to let us know what's going on with organizing for Bernie.
Yeah, Nita!
Thank you all for coming. This is so exciting. We had over 100 people sign up to come, and I think it just tells that there is momentum for Bernie, that people want Bernie. Okay, sorry about that. So this lighted coat sort of represents when many of us went to Philly.
Triple the volume!
Is the mic not on?
Yeah! Turn it up! Turn it up!
Is this? So you'll see people in these green shirts, and these were Bernie delegates. And when we went to Philly, we had these shirts, and we were protesting and not towing the line. And so they turned the lights off on us so that at TV at home that you all would not see it. And guess what? We glowed in the dark. So thank you again for coming on a Saturday night, and please order beverages. Our bartenders don't make $15 an hour like Bernie wants, and so they really depend on our tips and on us ordering, so please do that. And we thank the Skylark for hosting this for us. Skylark does not charge, yes. Skylark does not charge us anything for this, so we really, really appreciate it. So I want to first thank our host, and if you would raise your hand, Audrey Ferguson, somewhere, Audrey, over there, Marlon Nunes, Terry Tucker, and then also Our Revolution Metro Denver is one of the hosts. And most of all, Robert Matone, who is doing this audio visual for us and has set all of this up. So thank you so much. So I also want to recognize we have one of our newly elected state representatives here who was endorsed by Bernie Sanders, Emily Sirota. Husband, who now writes for The Guardian, David Sirota. So I have one more quick introduction that I want to make. We have a very special couple here, and their story is absolutely incredible. They signed up to come to our event and then put a little message on there, and I contacted them. They have a daughter who is 19 months old, and guess what her name is? Her official name is Bernice Sanders Rosa. And they call her Bernie. And would y'all stand up? And Bernie actually sent a personal letter to them. You notified Bernie that you had this daughter, that you had been activists, and that that you honored Bernie by naming your daughter Bernie. And Bernie sent them a personal letter back. Would you like to read the letter? Because I think it's pretty cool. And it is Bernie's signature.
Thank you, everybody. It says, Dear Jackie and Cal, congratulations on the birth of your daughter, Bernie Sanders Rosa. I am so honored that you have chosen me to be her namesake. As Bernice grows and learns, I encourage her to always make her voice heard. She is the future of our country, and I strongly believe that her generation can make a huge difference by engaging in the political process. I would also like to commend you on your political activism. I have no doubt your dedication has been an inspiration to your peers, and it is my sincere hope that you will both continue to be actively involved in making positive change happen. I join with your family and friends in congratulating you on this exciting milestone and wishing you both and Bernice the best in the next chapter of your lives. Sincerely, Bernard Sanders, United States Senator.
So before we watch the stream, it's not a live stream. It was actually posted or done earlier today, but we changed the time of our venue to accommodate another big event that was supposed to happen in Denver. And I want to ask a question. How many, just raise your hand, how many of you were able to go and caucus for Bernie? Whew. Okay, cool. Okay, thank you all. So the next is how many of you actually then were able to be elected as a delegate? I'm not talking about national, but just as a delegate at some level. Great, thank you. And then how many were a national delegate who went to Philly and endured what we endured? We were there fighting for you the whole way. Please know that. I mean, it was an honor to do that. And another question, there were other people that went and protested and stood behind that fence. Were there anybody else from here that went and protested? Thank you. Thank you. Okay, yes, you did. Thank you. Okay, so our next piece is to show the stream that was done today. And there will be, at one point, they will give you a link to a web page where you can sign up to see what the next step is for activism. Because this isn't just about us being here tonight and being excited about Bernie. It's also about what the next steps are to get him to run. This is our first thing, is to ask Bernie to run. How many people want Bernie to run? Okay, so I will turn this over to Robert.
There's only one Bernie.
Well, no, we've got two. We've got two. We have another Bernie here. Who's the future of our country, for sure. So, can you all hear me? Yes? Okay. I'd like to introduce Spencer Carnes. Where are you, Spencer? Yay! Spencer was on the Bernie Sanders campaign in Colorado for Buffs for Bernie. Is that correct? And he is one of the 3 people who started this group organizing for Bernie. So I want to just give him a couple of minutes to speak, and then we will talk about what our actions are. Thanks.
Thanks, Mia. What's up, Bernie fans? How y'all doing tonight? Oh, look at that jumpsuit. I love that. That is a classic right there. Oh, man, I'm not going to lie. I am so tired. Last couple of days have been absolutely insane, putting together 400 house parties in all 50 states. We started this organization in Colorado because we knew that this was a state where the progressive fashion was alive and well and that people would be ready to get to work. And I think that, like, coming to the Skylark tonight, I literally just walked in, coming in and seeing all of you here ready to, figure out what the next step is and how we can really bring this thing home and get moving. Oh, you want me to talk louder, Terry? Okay, cool. That's Terry Tucker. Okay, so yeah. Really excited to see all of you here tonight. Thank you so much. And thank you to Nita for putting this together and all of the volunteers that made this possible. So really, really appreciative. Okay, So I guess what I'm supposed to talk about tonight is mostly why it's so important that we get to work right now. And I think, you know, the fact that we have so many people in this room really speaks to an organizational advantage that frankly no other presidential candidate in 2020 is going to have. You know, I've won a lot. I've been in a lot of campaigns. Nita's right. My first campaign was the Bernie Sanders campaign in 2016. Buffs for Bernie, co-founder in the House, Hannah Fairtig somewhere. Yeah, distributing team 2016 really brought it home. Oh, she's right over here. Thank you. Thank you. She was over there. She moves. So, okay, with that said, I've worked on a lot of campaigns the last couple of years, and the one thing that I think I can really impart on us as a piece of advice is that you have to treat every single day as an opportunity. Every single day that goes by that we're not getting to work and we're not trying to make the world a better place is a day that we're missing an opportunity. And so frankly, you know, I did this, I started doing this, and we started bringing it together about a month ago because we knew that if we did, we would have evenings like tonight that would pack the house at the Skylark. Which, by the way, thank you to the Skylark. So with that said, I mean, we have an opportunity to get to work here. We put some things together that we can do. You heard Cece and Sheila talking about them in the live stream. You know, it's a start. Frankly, like, we're pretty far out from the election, but what we really need to focus on right now is getting ourselves organized and making sure that Senator Sanders knows that he has the support he needs to win in 2020. And today's like today definitely show that he has that support. So, with that said, I think at this point we're going to bring up Marlon to talk a little bit about you know, the other pieces of tonight. We're gonna, a really important part of us getting started is getting your input and figuring out what we can do in your communities to really get to work and start building inroads and building strong coalitions. And so one of the things that we're really trying to do tonight, which frankly this idea was supposed to happen if like 10 people got together at like a living room or a library, and maybe not in a situation where there's like 110 people at the Skylark. But we want to kind of bring Marlon up to talk about how we're going to crowdsource your feedback and kind of get ideas about how we can do better this time around, frankly, and how we can improve on all of the ideas that we brought forward in our revolutionary campaign in 2016 so that we can really build the best campaign in waiting for 2020. So with that said, Marlon.
Yeah, Marlon!
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Marlon. I really wish we could have waited another 6 minutes, because then on my phone, it would be 1917, the year of the Russian Revolution, right? So we'll shout that out in another 6 minutes. But we're going to try and condense everything that we just went through here in this room in the next, like, I don't know, 20 minutes. So we got about 4 different things that I want to get through. And so I want to get started on a big positive note, right? We want to reiterate hearing the voices that are in this room. Yeah, do we want to get quiet tonight? We want to start on a positive note on what we feel went really well back in 2016. Or 2015, because to be honest, all this talk about Bernie 2020, I'm like, oh my god, no. With love and respect to all the city council people and school board people we have in this room, like Bernie 2019, like this is serious, right? We're not screwing around, okay? This is 2019 work we're doing here. So I'd like people to raise their hands, and I really feel that we're only going to have time for one person, one individual, per like topic. So can I get someone to raise a hand that would like to talk about, shout out, and then maybe elaborate just a little bit on what really we did well in 2015/2016, and we'd like to continue. Someone I don't know. I know you. I don't know you. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, and just go ahead and introduce yourself and say your name. Did I say my name is Marlon? I think someone else did, but yeah, I'm from Parkland, so yeah. Okay, so would you like the mic? Sure.
Hi. My name is Patrick. What I think Bernie did ridiculously well in 2015-16 is he inspired. Like before that, I thought the political system was completely, totally corrupt, and I didn't have a voice, I didn't have a way to reach into it. After this campaign, I know that, yeah, it's still corrupt, but I can do something. And I think that was the biggest thing, is like that hope that, okay, let's get to work. We can fix the system.
Awesome. Yeah, that's absolutely great. A lot of the organizers that I've come to know and love have really, including myself, well, I I've always loved myself. Fun fact, I don't love myself. No, but we really, a lot of us got started with this Bernie thing, right? Like, politics has been a player sport, right? A spectator sport where you have to be an insider to actively, influence and enact change. That's not true anymore. And so that's something that we've done really well. And so the second kind of thing that we'd like to go over are suggestions on how do we get people to support Bernie. Like, we're not screwing around here, okay? We're not playing around with a guy that has goofy hair. We're not like, having this personality poll just so that we have someone to talk about, when we're at the bar or something. Like, this is a fight against fascism, and we need to know how to get people on board supporting Bernie Sanders for president this time around. So we need to be thinking about these people that are left. They're leftists, right? But not Bernie Sanders. Like, he's just like a social democrat. Like, that's not socialism. We're talking about the cautious voters that are saying, well, we really need to be nonpartisan. We really need to be in the middle. All of those non-voters are in the center, and we need to try and huddle up to the other side to try and get the middle wing. We're thinking about these voters that just don't vote. It's rigged. The system doesn't work. My vote's not going to matter. So thinking about these individuals. My brother, I'm having like a really hard time with him because he admires Bernie and this and that, but he's like, I'm results oriented. We need someone who is not lovable or whatever, like who can take Trump down. So how can we think about like these different categories of people? And I'd like someone to raise their hand and elaborate or give us some tips on how we can get Bernie to not, or how we can get people to not like, but like actually support Bernie. Is anyone? Liz? I see Liz. Is Liz?
Well, I was thinking about, had been active, but I really galvanized with Bernie. And when we were talking about what he did right, was he always stuck with a message. He never varied from his message. If you heard one speech, people say he says the same thing. I said, yes, he does say the same thing over and over because it's true, and he sticks to it, and he intends to follow it. And I believe him, and he does. And so I think as organizers, we need to do the same thing. We stick to our message. It's so easy to be distracted. Trump, blah, blah. I mean, you could go on. It takes your brain over. But stick to the message of hope and having it be consistent and always each one of us saying, this is what he believes, he does believe, this is what we believe, and this is why we are out here trying to get you to support Bernie Sanders.
Oh my God, Liz, you're my hero. Because finished up not a moment too soon. It is 1917. Can we get a round of applause? We are starting a revolution here. We are continuing a revolution here. And you all know why. Okay. Song? Doesn't sound like it. Alright, cool. Okay, so on that note, I think you heard a little bit in the live stream. You'll read the news, right? They're coming for us. They know who we are. They know what we want. And to be frank, they have a lot that they can do to us. So we need to think about our greatest challenges. I would like someone to share what we're up against. There's a lot of bad news in the news, trying to defame us before we've even hit the road. So I need what are our greatest challenges, and then if you're really smart, how can we overcome them? I see two hands over there, but Drew's here, and he's kind of cute. Dude, would you like to speak? I don't know you. Yeah, would you like to come up? Like this. This is a little suggestive.
Okay, so my name's Julie. Put it up here. My name's Julie. I guess why I'm coming up is some of the greatest challenges I've already heard in the sense of coming here or still always feeling the burn is, so there's a number of things. One thing I hate hearing is, he's too old. I also hate hearing from a lot of people who supported him back then, but still now I'm wondering why they somehow think this other guy who's unfortunately currently our president is gonna win. Like, why are you even trying to give up? And to me, I think the challenge is I think so much of us have hope, but a lot of people feel let down by the system and beaten down and don't feel like our voices are heard. So it's trying to convince them and say, if we fight for what's right, caring about each other and healthcare and getting money out of politics. So I guess I see that as trying to convince people how, yeah, Bernie can win, and also that no, he's not too old because that's ageism, and it shouldn't, that's ageism. I'm not saying we don't want young voices, but at the same time, that's ageism to say that he's too old. And also, I think another challenge is trying to go against this idea of, oh, it's a bunch of free stuff. It's not, you know, in the sense of Medicare for all or education and a lot of other things. It's not free. I mean, we all pay for it, but we all pay a little bit, so we all have so much more of the pie. I don't know. I guess that's
I went to like a fancy schmancy neoliberal private school, so like it's not free, it's an investment, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's 7:20. Do we have? Because I have some things to talk about moving forward, some websites that we can go to, and some dates that we need to keep in mind. But it's 7:21. Do we have time for other people that would like to expand on these three things? Okay, so I see a hand over here. Would you like to come up? Or yeah, I'll get one of you next.
Hi everybody, my name is Lucia Brown, and I think just speaking to the challenges, I don't know if you've been seeing the news lately, but a lot of people are running on the Democratic ticket wearing the progressive moniker. 4 years ago, not very many people had heard of Bernie Sanders. Now everybody's trying to ride on his coattails. So how we overcome that and get Bernie? I think some of these people might be good vice presidential candidates. These people aren't just riding on Bernie's coattails, and that Bernie is the one.
Cool. Vice President, maybe like Department of Education. All right, so over here, Miguel, do you want to? Oh, okay, this gentleman. This gentleman would like to come.
Thanks. My name is Josh. I just have one insight to share. Actually, I have a lot, but I'm only going to share one. I think that the other movements, the other issues that we're involved in, be it climate change, be it social justice, that it's very important that we actually continue, even though this is a presidential campaign, to have marches on climate, to have other activism, like during Bernie's last run, Standing Rock was going on. And if more people, I think if he even went down there and got more involved, but we may be his representatives, he did speak on it. But the more that we're doing that, the more the issues will push Bernie forward, because Bernie is standing on the right side of these issues. And it seems, and the left side, whatever. But it seems to me that we want to be talking about the issues. And keeping the momentum on those issues and helping Bernie. And I know that we want to do both equally, but that we can't drop the other issues. We have to continue organizing on those as well.
Cool. Yeah, do we have any French people in the house? Where are yellow vests? Okay, Miguel.
among friends. How are you? By a show of hands, how many of you here, how many of your lives were transformed by the senator? I know mine was, right? So when I moved back from Texas after, getting diagnosed with diabetes and suffering from health concerns from working in the oil field, I was working in the oil field. I came back and I became a radical environmentalist. And so I have the honor of organizing my neighborhood. I co-founded Montbello for Bernie. And they told us that Bernie was never going to appeal to our communities. That the black and the brown community did not like Bernie Sanders, that his message would not resonate with us, and that we were never going to get on board. Well, we proved them wrong. I spoke at the caucus opposite our mayor, Michael Hancock. And let me tell you, he was not ready for what I brought that night. So by the time that he got to the state assembly, we had the state convention, we had a whole lot more delegates from our neighborhood than the other candidate did. And we did that because I refused, and my team refused to buy into the narrative that Bernie's economic message does not resonate with us, because we, the working class, we have been suffering through corporate greed for far too long. It is a myth that all boats rise. You know what? No, they don't. Some of our boats are anchored to the fucking bedrock. Right? And they have been overturned by inequality. They have been overturned by corporate greed. And right now in Denver, you know what? I'm so proud of all of you tonight, because we have an opportunity coming up this May. I am running for Denver City Council District 8. And it is about time that our progressive Bernie movement materialized right here in Denver. We enjoy this reputation of being progressive, and excuse the children in the room, we're not freaking progressive, right? We're not. We're not there yet. We haven't put in the work. We haven't gotten progressive people elected. Look at who represents you in city council. Do you think those are progressives? No, they're not. And so this is a challenge to you, to get behind those of us who are brave enough to throw our hand in the ring and support us. Because guess what? You have candidates out there who are advocating for every single thing that the senator is advocating, and then some, let me tell you. So we're going to be, and so my name is Miguel Ceballos, and I'm running for Denver City Council District 8.
That's fine. No, that's fine. This is, bringing the revolution home is great. What Miguel was talking about is exactly the whole point of this. So we're going to do a little change here, but it's for the better. So since Miguel is running for city council, we're going to go ahead and open up the floor. Are there any other candidates for any other races, city and county in Denver, or, I don't know, other places that would like to come up, present themselves? We have Senor Tate, or Senor Tate. All right.
Thank you very much.
Whatever he had.
My name is Penfield Tate. I'm running for mayor of Denver for many of the same reasons you heard from Miguel. A rising tide doesn't always lift all boats, and we have seen that happen in Denver. We need a mayor who's going to be aggressive to make sure that the growth and development that comes to this city, and growth is okay, but it's got to be managed and it's got to be directed so that it happens with and for us and doesn't get done to us. And that's what's been happening for so long. I'll be a mayor that works with you in our communities to make sure the development that comes is compatible, harmonious with your communities. I'll be a mayor that will partner with you, with our friends in organized labor, and with others to make sure we start building affordable housing, both to buy and to rent. Because when Westward reported 6 weeks ago that Denver has now become the least affordable city in the country for millennials, that 85% of millennials will not be able to save enough money over 20 years to afford a down payment, something is fundamentally wrong with what's happening. I'll deal with affordable housing, and you know, what's happening on the streets of Denver, for many of us, is an embarrassment. Shelter is a non-negotiable of life. And there is no reason in the world we have this many homeless people living on this street. Especially when a sizable percentage of them work full time. They're there because they can't afford to rent or buy in Denver. I was with a group today, the union representative, who represents some employees at the new big shiny VA hospital that was 2 years over budget. 2 years late and about $1 billion over budget. They have people working there who live in their cars because they can't afford to rent or buy in this community. That's wrong. I'll be a mayor that addresses that. Last thing. Anybody ever been caught in traffic lately? Yeah. That's what happens when you have development you don't plan for, you don't make sure it works with your neighborhoods and the people that live in the neighborhood. That's the hardest one to tackle, but we'll fix it. We've got to be innovative, we've got to be creative, and I'll tell you now, we're all going to be inconvenienced for a while, but we've got to change the way our roads work so that we don't spend half of our day commuting to and from work and losing valuable time with our families and friends. Penfield Tate, running for mayor, thank you for your support. And having had the chance to meet the senator, I will tell you this. The support you show for him, the enthusiasm you have, and the drive you have behind him is well-deserved and well-placed. He's an amazing man, and like Miguel said, he speaks to folks across races and generations because he's talking about the right issues. He's talking about taking care of people. And that's the type of mayor I'll be for you. Thank you very much.
I saw one other person. Is anyone else? I saw she left. Oh, he missed out. Anyway, okay, cool. So what's next? So it's 7:31. Just wrap up, right? So we have some other announcements. I'm not the ending shebang or whatever. So I read this thing recently that was like, trying to be all existential or whatever. It was like, listen, no matter what you believe, who you are, what side you're on, now is the time to find each other. And that's why we have events like this, right? But there's an extra. And now is the time to find each other. People are having conversations. I'm okay with that. I think that's beautiful. We also need to stay with each other. We need to keep connected with each other. So if you haven't signed in, please sign in on your way out. Make sure that we have your email address. There's a bunch of information that was shouted out it was given to you. Oh look, there's 2 links that I was going to talk about. That's going to be in an email. If you make sure that we have your email, you can stay connected and be reminded of this orgforbernie.com/takeaction. That's probably going to evolve into much bigger and better things, but for now, the dates to keep in mind are the weekend of action. This month, remember, we're not playing games here. On January 26th and 27th, we're going to be getting petition signatures. We're going to be writing letters to the editor. We're going to be having other organizational events in person. We're going to be really putting our boots on the ground, role foot soldiers in this revolution, right? And then orgforbernie.com/feedback is where you can go and, if you unfortunately did not get a chance to speak up and share your thoughts on these things, these topics that we were talking about, this is the first step, or we're moving forward. We want to hear from you. We want your personal stories. We want to know where you come from, who you are, and where you're going, and why you're going with us. So sign in. If you haven't signed the petition yourself, these signatures that we're going to be collecting for the Organizing for Bernie petition. Listen, this guy, Senator Sanders, he's so committed to the grassroots, he's so self-critical, he's not even sure that he can lead us until we demand it of him. right? And that's what we're going to do with this petition signature, this circulation. So if you haven't signed, please go on the Facebook page, there's a link, or to the website, or to Bernie.com, and sign the petition yourself. And then, you know, this is like the start of a new year. We're all thinking about resolutions. Bernie for president? Yeah, that's a big one on my list. So, we need to all be very honest with ourselves and really commit to block off time. We don't exactly know, I mean, we have some dates and some actions already, but we might not know exactly where we're going, you know, from now, but we need to look ourselves in the mirror, or look a loved ones in the eyes. Think about why this is so important to us personally, and make a personal commitment to ourselves to get out there and do what we can, when we can, right? To make sure that this is going to happen. And then also, I know a lot of people in this room, and I was really happy that a lot of the people that said hi to me introduced me to a friend that they brought here that I hadn't met. So now I know them. So it'd be really great if you can reach out and bring people to events like this, because we need to evangelize our families. Okay? Politics is not a spectator sport. We cannot deal with it anymore. We cannot just, you know, afford to sit back and relax and watch the power players have at it, right? We all understand the importance of our own individual agency in making this happen. So the more people we bring, the more friends we evangelize and bring out to events like this, the better. And then I think that's it. So thank you.
Somebody left a phone in the restroom.
It's an apple.
Somebody lost their phone.
We have an Apple iPhone.
So we'll keep it up here and
If you don't claim it, it'll belong to the collective.
well, we'll be some of the last ones leaving, so we'll hang on to it. In a moment, I'm going to turn it over to Robert, who has a couple of announcements and also some information on media that's going to really be helpful. But really, the big ask here is, how many people promise that you will go to that website, the two websites that we put up here, and will give the feedback, which is very important because it is a two-way conversation. This organizing for Bernie, it is, do you know the people that started it do not take any salary. They are volunteers. So any donations we make to it goes for the website and for, you know, logistics. So how many people promise that they will go to this website on the feedback? Great. Okay. Please also go to the Take Action one, because there are buttons on there that show what the next action is and how we can be involved. Because this is no good if we really don't make this exponential. Bernie has said this. He said it. When he was asked by media, are you going to run? And he said, if I have the grassroots support. He didn't say if I have the corporate support. He said, if I have grassroots support. So if we want Bernie to run, we have got to make this exponential. And we want Bernie to run.
We need Bernie to run.
Run, Bernie, run. Hashtag all of that. So I'm now going to turn it over to Robert, who has a couple of really important announcements. And then that will leave time for everybody to mingle, because I know we progressives love to mingle. And thank all of you.
Everyone, it really warms my heart to see you all here, to see how many people showed up. We can do this again, and we can be stronger and make something happen this time. Now, one thing though, the mass media is going to be going after us every chance that they can. And we can do something about that. There's something that's already in place. The Young Turks. Are you guys familiar with the Young Turks? Okay, the Young Turks address is very easy. It's tyt.com. They have started the TYT Army. So it's tyt.com/army. Sign up there. Anytime that you see some broadcast on the TV that is a negative towards Bernie or Tulsi Gabbard or any of the progressives, jot down that URL and send it to tyt.com/army and become part of the army. It's very important that we do this to keep the mass media honest.
We will.
Secondly, next Saturday is the Women's March. And we here at the Skylark Lounge, after the Women's March every year, we have a benefit for Planned Parenthood. And so, next Saturday, when you leave the Women's March, come on down here. We're going to have 4 female bands and some burlesque. It starts at 3 o'clock. It'll end around 8 o'clock. We're asking for at least a $5 donation, and all that goes to Planned Parenthood. It's an excellent cause, and if anybody is actually going to the Women's March, we have some handbills right here that we would like for you all to take with you to hand out to people at the march so they know about this to come on down here. And that's about it for me. Hey folks, I really appreciate you all coming out, and let's feel the burn!